Hi, everybody, and look what it's time for again. Yes, another season of Relative Race. Can you believe it? Season 9 started actually yesterday, and we always, the next day, talk about the things that happened, but how fabulous. We've got another season, and this one already is starting out to be a little different. Oh, Shelley's got her bands. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got our swag. Those of us
and upstairs.
Swag. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I just know that. I just know. Oh my gosh. We'll fix that. I know I don't have to. I know what I'm wearing for GenFriends for the next
for the next 8 Mondays.
9 Mondays after this
You're
one.
only wearing it 1 hour a day on Mondays.
That's right. It'll be fun.
For 8 hours at work. It's not bad. Pandemic rules. It works.
Pandemic rules. Absolutely. So what a fun start. We thought what we'd do this time is we would each, there's 4 teams and there's 4 of y'all, and you've each chosen a team just to kind of, not to go through what happened. We'll do that all together, but just tell everybody about the teams just in case they didn't watch. And you know what? This is going to be spoiling the whole episode. So you have watched day 1, yeah. But who'd like to go first? Mary, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about Team Black.
You know what? I didn't even introduce you people.
Oh,
I knew. I was so excited. I was so excited.
Just guys, right to it here.
I'm Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and this is GenFriends, and this is Mary Kircher Roddy, who's from MKR Genealogy. Hi,
Mary.
Hi. We've got Melissa Barker, the archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Are we like loving Relative Race? I mean, or
we
what?
Are.
I can't even believe I did that.
I was ready for it. I was ready for it.
No, obviously we're ready.
Oh, we're ready. And then, of course, we've got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
And then last down at the bottom on mine, but not least, is Shelley Murphy, our family tree girl. She is in the house. So we're so grateful to have all of you. And I guess I'm just, you guys are here every week, and I just figure everybody knows you, and I just wanted to jump right in. But
right, we don't need to talk about ourselves. We want to talk about
we're going to talk about Relative Race. Yes. Okay, Mary.
Okay. So Team Black is Leighton and Kyle.
And they're so darn cute.
They are so darn cute. Young lovebirds.
Yeah.
They just got engaged. Leighton is a college student, and she's studying criminal forensics. So
cool is that?
That's kind of interesting, I thought. Anyway, they said they want to get married right after they finish filming. So they may be married already. They might longer be.
It probably are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kyle knows all about his family. His mom is one of 10, but Leighton, she was adopted, and she found out when she was 8 that she was adopted. She didn't, her mother wouldn't tell her very much, and she took that really hard, not knowing. But when she was 13, she found a birthday card and had a picture of a man she didn't recognize, and she realized that this was her biological father. And she pored over that picture and stared at it and saw facial features she recognized. And then when she was 22, her parents gave her a whole stack of letters that had pictures in them, and both of her biological parents had sent letters all through her life to her adoptive parents. So she's really excited to get to hopefully meet them.
Right. I hope she gets to. I have a feeling that was her not getting the letters till she was 22 was an agreement with her biological family. I think the way they kind of talked about that, I'm wondering if that's the case. We will write to her so that when she gets older, she'll know that we loved her and that we communicated with you and told her about
it. And given that age, 21, that might have been the first time, because she said she visited her family. She went to Arizona to see her parents. So maybe it was.
Right. So that'll be an interesting story to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So very, very exciting. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you. Melissa, you've got Team Red.
I do. And Team Red is Jose and Tiffany. They are married. They are from Arizona. Tiffany is actually the one who's adopted. I don't remember exactly her adoption story. But they are, it was a great story for them. I really enjoyed watching their story. And boy, when they got told where they were going, they had to get on a plane.
Yes, which I love. Yeah, they did. They had to get on
The Pacific Northwest. Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes, to Oregon.
Yeah. No, she had talked about she's been looking for her family for over 40 years. And so
yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. And so I think they're going to be a great team to watch.
And I think too that she had mentioned that is she the one from the very, very large family who's the
17 siblings?
Yes.
17.
Because her parents, and
she said she felt like an outsider.
Yeah, which is so sad because you would think that with all the other adopted brothers and sisters that she wouldn't feel that way. So that's very interesting.
Well, it may not be that they made her feel that way, but I mean, I'm not adopted and I can only imagine, but being adopted, I'm sure in any family, you probably feel a bit like an outsider.
Maybe.
She said
like you don't belong in a weird way because they're, it's not your family and your family's out there somewhere.
Or I think she said something about physical characteristics, not looking like anyone else in the group.
I think that was more of it there.
Yeah. I believe so. And then let's see, Laura, I've got
Team Blue, which are also
they're so cute. All these teams are so fun.
So is it does he say it Kareem or Kareem? Kareem and Rochelle. He is from the Bronx. I'm not sure. She said something about being from the Atlantic or spending time
Atlanta.
in Atlanta. I don't, but they're first cousins, so that's so cool.
They're adopted cousins, but they're adopted cousins, which is even better that he's supporting her.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
and he's like 15 years older.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He helped. So she was adopted at 10 days old, and he has a picture of himself holding her when she was, sweet. I think it was 6 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So they've been buds. And she basically says that my adoptive family makes me feel like blood.
Yeah. That made me cry.
It didn't make me cry, but I thought it was really cool that she has so much support from her adopted family. It's really a cool story. Now, I cheated a little. I went onto the Relative Race Facebook page.
Oh, sure.
And each team have little short videos.
Yep, they do. That's not cheating.
Well, I didn't cheat.
Well, your turn's yet to come. You can cheat in a minute. So,
I'm trying right now.
Kareem, so also Rochelle should get extra points because her braids are blue.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That should be extra points. He describes her in 3 words as funny, crazy, and again funny. So, and she describes him as outgoing and lit. So I think it'll be a fun team.
I think they're going to be really fun.
She called herself a nerd.
Yeah.
Remember, she called herself a nerd.
Kind of a nerd.
So I think they're going to, and so obviously she's looking for biological parents.
Right.
Right. And he's there for the ride and the support and entertainment, etc. So I think they'll be fun to watch.
I think so too. I think the dynamics between the two of them were so cute on day one.
They were.
So
they were like brother
plus
sister.
the height differential between the two of them. It's not just age, it's like height.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura and Shelley.
You've got Team Green Team.
Yeah.
Green Team are 2 females. They are sister-in-laws.
Yeah,
they are Kelly and they are Angie or Angela. Angela is the one that was adopted, so she's seeking her biological family. And Kelly actually is a home health aide or nurse. And Angie works at IT, and they're both from Pennsylvania, where they currently are living. So I think they'll be interesting in their story, because you got a sister-in-law seeking, they married brothers, but seeking to find the biological family. So I think it's going to be a very interesting season.
Right.
And remember, Dan said, if we thought season 8 was something, what's coming on season 9. So I'm excited for all of them.
Well, you know, and he always says stuff like that, and you're like, how can it top? And it always does.
Yeah, I know.
Always is saying that. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's great. These teams are going to be really, really fun to watch. I mean, I'm excited about the dynamics. We've got first in show history, an engaged couple, which is going to be, I hope they're still engaged by the time the race is over. And then the sister-in-laws, you know, and then of course, it makes you wonder though, everybody else has got a nice strong male on their team. Are we going to have repeats of other, you know, seasons where the women needed a nice, and not to be, you know, sexist or anything like that, but there's just some things, you know, that, you know, thinking about Monica and when they were up on that yacht, and Megan, when they just couldn't do some of those things. And so it'll be interesting to see how this one
I think it will be interesting. And again, I kind of felt like they've got a sisterly bond, even though they're sister-in-laws.
Yeah,
because that
really
was the
sweet.
First person she called. She said,
you know, and I love that. I love that widened definition of family.
Yes, exactly.
That was
exactly. Very true. Well, this was another relative race first as they went to do their first challenge. You know, normally they're doing a racetrack or, you know, something crazy and it's physical football. As I remember Joe and Jerica, who could not, Joe does not a sportsman. You know what I'm saying? Those types of things is usually what happens. But in this case, they did a service project. And I thought that was wonderful. As a matter of fact, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be fun if this whole season, all of their challenges were a service somehow for the areas they're in? Now, there's probably not going to happen, but wouldn't that be cool if all of the challenges were actually some type of service for the town they were in? So what they did was they actually built a ramp. They had a couple, their story was incredible. Does anybody, so you're not hearing me talk all the time, does anybody want to explain about
well, they
had an accident.
It was
a brain tumor.
It was Scott and Elaine, and Bridges, I believe was her last name, and she was pregnant, 4 months pregnant, seizure. And she had a seizure driving, and then they took her to the hospital and they found out she had a brain tumor, and then she almost died on the table. And so they didn't clarify why she can't walk. I'm sure it's got something to do with all of that she's paralyzed and can't walk.
There was, it sounded like it got worse, that she had some sort of blood clot. And
she was on the operating table and she developed hematoma on the operating table.
Yes.
They basically said over time she developed mobility issues. So
over time,
whether it was a single event but it sounded like they've been struggling with this for their daughter's whole lifetime.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're lucky that they both survived this. You know, it could
she was 4 months pregnant, correct?
Yeah, it could have killed both of them. That's just a miracle in and of itself that they survived it.
Yes.
And so the teams, oh my gosh. So they get there and they tell them what they're going to do. They're going to build a ramp because he's actually carrying her around because they don't have a ramp. So he carries her to the car, carries her back out to the car. They need a wheelchair ramp and they don't have one. So what the teams had to do is they had to build or partially build as much as I guess legally they could do because, you know, these things have to be done by professionals who have licenses and things like that. But the first thing they did was to split them into 2 groups, which I thought was fun to start them in 2 groups to kind of get to know each other. I mean, I know they'd met ahead of time, but to really get to know each other, I thought was great to watch them work together. And they did really well together. But the first thing they did though, before they did anything else, was they gathered together and they said a prayer. And I just thought that was beautiful that they said a prayer first. And you could tell that they were touched by, this is my challenge. This is our challenge. We get to do this because they met them and they, you know, heard their story and we get to do this for them. It was beautiful. So they got it done. They did the teamwork and then they had to do it.
Well, give cheers to Team Green on getting it done.
But you know what? Who helped them? They asked Kyle. They asked Kyle, could you because she couldn't figure out how to use the drill, and I mean,
Bit
hello, I mean, I've used a drill, but not a lot. And I could see me getting to something like that going, oh my gosh, I don't remember how to do this. And then you start freaking out. And then afterwards you're probably like, I could have figured that out, but I think it's the pressure of trying to hurry and it's the time and all that. But, they finally all got it done. And they, as they left, they had them go talk to them. And that was beautiful as they went over and talked to Scott and Elaine and their daughter. And I'm blanking on her name right now, but they were all there.
I didn't write it down.
And they went and talked to them. And I thought that was
daughter's name is Destiny.
Thank you, Melissa. I thought that was beautiful. And at that point they had stopped their time. They're not going to run that time while they're talking to them. So, and it was a rainy day too. It wasn't a very nice day.
Yeah.
Now blue team got done first, and then poor green team, of course, they were a little bit behind the, the 8 ball because they didn't know how to use the drill. But I started getting curious, and I thought, I wonder how, of all the people in that whole town, how did they choose somebody to do service for? And so I reached out and I asked.
But what did they say?
So this is what, and I reached out to Amani because she lives there, and apparently she was helping out on the set. So she kind of knew. So I asked her, I said, by any chance, do you know how? So this is really interesting. She says, they contacted a number of charities in the area and ran into Greg Snyder, who owns Operation Ramp It Up. Isn't that cute? Operation Ramp It Up is the name of the charity. It just so happened, I don't believe in just so happened, that the very week before, Scott had reached out to Greg to see if there was a chance they could do this ramp for them. But he said, we don't have any donation money. I don't have any money to do this for you. We'd like to do it, but we don't have any money. And that's when Relative Race found out about it, intervened, and that's how that ramp got built.
Well, that's so cool.
Wonderful.
Isn't that so fun?
That's really neat.
Just so happened? No, I don't believe in just so happened.
But it seemed like to me it was something long overdue.
Yes.
And I know it's hard for people to ask for help sometimes.
Right.
But I'm sure in a city the size of Cincinnati, there's a number of organizations. So I hope people do ask for help when they need it.
I hope so too. So thanks, Amani, for telling us the rest of the story. As far as that goes, I just think it's really cool to know how that came to be. So I wanted to share that with y'all and with our viewers, so they know, because I was curious and I reached out to a couple of different people who said, I don't know, but ask this person. I don't know. Ask this person. And I promise you, she got permission from Relative Race people to share that story.
So the judges were actually employees of this Ramp It Up organization? Is that what we think?
Judges of what?
Oh, you mean those professionals that had to come?
Because they couldn't leave the area until someone inspected their work.
Oh, the contractor had to inspect.
Right. So are we
whoever
thinking that the contractors were with this Ramp It Up organization?
Probably, most likely.
Cool.
Isn't it? It's so fun. I just love that story. I just thought that was so cool. So they of course got that done and get to see their destination cities and take off, right? So, and here we go, season 9 is underway. So they're off and traveling, and as we said about Team Red, they had to jump on a plane. So, but they did say they stopped their time so that they could get to Washington State, and as soon as they got there,
they went to Oregon.
I'm sorry, Oregon. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Right direction, wrong state. And so they started their time again. So, I've often wondered, sometimes they'll be in a different place. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. So city selfies, boy, they went through those city selfies like they'd always used a flip phone. And so I remember as we were live tweeting, and I would really like to invite anybody who really loves Relative Race and can do it to come live tweet with us, because we have so much fun. And most of the time Joe Hinline comes on, and he's on there live tweeting with us, and some of the teams will get on there, and it's just really fun. And so when they had did the selfies, I put, oh man, they did so good. He says, they've been listening to all of us as we've talked about getting yourself prepared
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
didn't they say
And somebody had studied the map. She spent like 4
Yes.
months studying maps.
Yes.
Exactly.
exactly what
Yeah.
team was
I
that?
believe that was
That was,
Angie.
yeah. And she had
The
the
green team.
binoculars looking
Yeah.
for the
Yes. Green team.
But remember, she's also IT. So
Yeah.
very detail oriented,
Yeah.
you know, so I connected where she said she worked at,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in IT, you know, but yeah, she said they studied maps. So again,
Yeah,
you
see,
know, there
learning from the
should
past
be
seasons.
less.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
should be less
Yes.
time spent on
Right.
getting lost or
I'm
getting
getting lost.
You know,
Right,
redirected.
right. But I just love the binoculars as she's looking for the
Yeah.
And then she goes, it didn't help because
help.
Kelly found the sign before she did. So that was really cute. That
Correct,
was really, really
correct.
cute.
Those two have a great relationship.
They
It's kind of
do.
fun to
Mhm.
watch the
I
way
know,
they
like I
interact.
said, they're like sisters for,
Yeah.
you know, marrying brothers and
Right.
They're like
you know.
sisters who get along.
Well, I don't know because I don't have a sister, so I don't know how that works.
Always wanted a
Well,
sister. Don't have one.
I have a sister.
Me either. I
And
don't
we
have a
would get
sister.
along like that for a while, but then we would also like, ah.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm sure all the teams do that every once in a while. We just don't see that.
Yeah.
So, they, you know, nobody really had a horrible time finding their relatives
No.
home. At least it didn't make the cut. Nobody
It
really
didn't seem like it. Yeah.
No, they were asking different people. You know, they would stop and ask, but nobody got really lost. I wasn't worried about somebody because they were going round and round in circles or something terrible happened or a traffic jam or any of those kinds of things. So they seem to be at least
So
on day one.
far,
Let's hope it
day
continues.
one.
Right.
But one of them, they said like this, like the highway dumped them into town and it was exactly the right street.
Oh,
They
yeah.
didn't even
And
have
they
to make
just
a
stayed
turn.
on it.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
I
stayed
think
on
it might have
it.
been Missouri.
So some people just have all the luck, right? And so yeah, some people have all the luck. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about who they found, because some of them found people really close to who they're looking for day one. I'm like, wait a second, that's
Yeah.
what is coming when you can find a maternal or paternal aunt
Oh,
on
Yeah,
day
that was
Angie?
team Black.
Angie,
Mhm.
Team
Yes.
Green, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, they all did except for one of them found a cousin, but everybody else found a maternal or paternal aunt. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Team
This is-
Black found her father's sister,
Yes.
Yes.
and
Yes.
that was, it was so interesting. I mean, the aunt knew everything.
Yeah.
Her brother had talked,
Mhm.
you know, all
Showed her-
her life
yeah.
about the
The
child,
tattoo.
and had a tattoo.
Yes.
His very first tattoo when he was in the Marine
Yeah.
Corps
Had
was
her
Leighton's name on his
Yes.
back.
Mhm.
That was beautiful. And you could see the family reason. The minute they showed that first picture, I was like, well, yes, you know,
Yeah.
that's definitely her biological father because she looks just like him. And
Yeah.
so it looked to me in those early pictures that they were just so young. You know, they're
Yeah.
probably high school, maybe so young. And they said, you know, we loved you. We've always loved you, but we knew this was the best for you. And so, you know, at least she knows that. And at least she knows that her biological family always knew about her, that she'd
Mhm.
always been part of the family, that she'd never been forgotten. They knew she was out there and they wanted to meet her at some point. And we're glad that she is taking this journey so that she can meet them. I just thought that was
Well, that's interesting because remember Angie and Green,
Mhm.
the Green team, she met an aunt just like you commented about these aunts and uncles,
Mhm.
but she said, Angie asked that question, did you know about me?
Mhm.
And she come out and said her birth date, July 8th.
I
she's
know.
39.
That must have
you
felt
know.
so good.
Yeah, yeah.
That must have
So
felt
that had
so
to make
good.
her feel good
Oh yeah.
that they all knew about her and they
Right.
thought about her.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I
thought
think
that was good.
the only person that met somebody on day one that didn't know was Rochelle, because she met that aunt, her father's sister, but all she could do was say, one of these men is your father. One of my brothers
Yeah.
is your
Well,
father.
she said they had to do DNA tests.
Well, to figure it out.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm just,
Right.
I'm just wondering if like, she's gonna like the next, there were like 4 of them, right?
Right, 4
That she's
brothers.
gonna go 4 days of meeting someone. Are you my father? No. Are you my, it's more like the little children's book. Are you my mother? I don't know.
Yes.
And I wonder
exactly.
if she knows which one of her brothers is.
Well, she said she
didn't
didn't.
need to.
She
I
said
know,
she
but
didn't
yeah.
because nobody
His
talked
sister.
about an adoption.
Yeah.
Nobody talked
And
about
he
no,
may
I'm
not have
talking
even
about if she
known.
knows now. If she
now.
knows
Yeah,
then
she
when
might know now.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
might
that,
though.
Mary
that
might
should
be right
come
on
up.
that.
Yeah.
Say that again. What did Mary say? I'm sorry.
Well, he might, I mean, the father might not have known that he
This is
conceived
true.
a child.
That's true.
Exactly. Exactly. So it might not
That's
be a matter of them hiding it. It was just he had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
So I hope that on this journey they're going to be able to figure out which
Yeah.
one, because that's got to feel weird to look at this photo. And this has happened before in previous
Right.
seasons. Well, it happened
Yeah,
to
To
Deshay.
say, yeah.
Yeah. And so to see this photo and just know
One of them.
these men. And I think people think, oh, well, they did a DNA test. Why can't they tell? It doesn't work that way. You know, they know which family, which set of brothers, but they didn't have to look at time, place, who would have been where she was born at that time, and then who was
Or
there.
get all the brothers to DNA test. and
Exactly.
then
Yeah,
it would be clear.
Right, but just
it would be
doing
clear.
that, yeah. And so,
Well, I think that's coming up.
oh, I'm sure it
because
is.
I'm
the
sure.
journey and again, like the sister said, they didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think that does fall back. Maybe daddy didn't know either.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just love it when they meet their relative and they say, you are the first biological relative that I have ever met. That is just, you know, it just,
That
as they
gets
say,
you.
it gives you all the feels, right?
Yeah.
Just-
Well, definitely for Leighton, and Rochelle, I don't think either one of them have children, correct?
oh, I don't think so.
I don't
Because
think so.
I know for
No.
some
No.
women that have been adopted, their first biological relative is their
Is
child.
their own child.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm just thinking of it for those two, that's
Mhm.
definitely the truth that.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
Angie has a daughter, her and her sister-in-law, they
Yeah,
both
they
have
have-
little girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
just
don't-
within months of each other.
Yeah.
And Jose and Tiffany, I just remember them saying blended family.
Yeah, she has
Right.
2 kids and he has 1, and
Yeah.
they would like to have
Yeah.
a child together.
Yes.
is what
And
they
then
said.
the red Tiffany with the red
Huh?
couple, they the last name, I think her birth last name was Mayo.
Mayo, that
And
was
they would
incredible.
call
That
her
was
the
the
Mayo
cousin.
baby.
Yes.
And so when she
Mayo,
met
yeah.
her cousin Charlie, he and his wife had a new baby, and so
Yes.
it was the Mayo baby, and so it really got
Yeah.
her, touched her, and made her think about that she was called that. So
Yes, she was called that because she wasn't named at the hospital. So
Mhm.
her adopted parents named her.
And
all
how
she
she,
knew- Go
how
ahead.
she loved holding that baby.
oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
She
and, you know, her husband.
throughout the interview.
And I just,
You know,
go ahead,
who
Melissa.
was it? Kyle and Leighton. I was really surprised to see Kyle get so emotional too.
Emotional, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and so for his wife, so that was pretty cool.
Right. That is one thing I always love to watch too. So I'm watching them meet the relative, but I'm also watching whoever's with them, their teammate, to
Yeah.
see their reactions. And sometimes I think we can get so caught up watching whomever is meeting their relative and their reactions that we forget to look at that other person. And it's so tender to see how they are reacting to their loved one, finding
Yeah.
answers and meeting people, you know, and you don't see them going, well, you're going to find somebody for me. Even
no,
if
they're not
most
like
of them,
that.
they're not like
No.
that, you know, and they're surprised if they happen to, and they're like, wait a minute, this was all about them. So I'm
Yeah.
surprised
Yeah.
that you found somebody for me. So I love watching them as they get pictures shown to them or whatever they're being shown, you know, it's just, I love watching their reactions to what's happening. So if you haven't done that before, watch that, even if you're going to rewind it a little bit and go back and look at those reactions, and I've told you guys before that my favorite moment from Relative Race is when Team Black Joe was at second season, when he and his wife, he was looking for his father, and when his father came down the stairs, and his wife Maddie goes, whack. She was so excited, she whacked him on the back when he said, Joe, I'm your father. And that moment was where I got hooked. Just their reaction, their relationship, and then Joe finding his father. So that, just watch that. It's incredible. And their part of the journey is important as support, because they couldn't do this. There's a reason there's two. There's a reason there's two people.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. And I think it's a good strategy or whatever it is for Relative Race, that they take teams and do it that way, because it is a support system. And we've seen where the people weren't related, and I'm trying to think of what season, but one of the seasons the team they were not related. They worked together or something like that. And
we've had several of those. Yeah.
And so I think that being able to have that voice to be able to share the hugs, the crying.
Exactly. Well, think about Kelly when she was talking to Angie, when she was just, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. She was saying,
beautiful.
Yes.
Wasn't that beautiful? I just,
right.
She was almost like she's going to hold her up. You're going to get through this.
You're going to do this. And she said, if your biological mother had forgotten about you, she won't be on this trip. But if she's on this trip, it's because sometimes people have passed away or they're in a situation where they just don't want to be on camera, but they're there, and we just don't get to meet them, but they'll get to meet them at another time. Right.
Oh yeah.
But she's saying, you're going on this journey. It's because these people cared enough. And that's another thing, these family members who are doing this. Can you imagine a cousin? Sometimes they're like, once removed or something, cousins that they end up finding for them, but they care enough to help this person on their journey. And I think that's beautiful too, that they've agreed to be part of this, because is it really all that wonderful to be on a TV show to and put all your stuff out there for everybody to see? And so that just shows you how caring and loving they are, that they want this person to come into their family. And I love when they say, you always have a family. And I remember that Rochelle's aunt said to her, you've got such a big family. You've got your adoptive family, and now you've got us. And sometimes they're like, well, you're ours now. And they forget about those adoptive families. And so I loved that she included.
I wrote that down, the Aunt Sabrina, I loved that, because she wasn't kind of like, okay, now you're sad. She did everybody, and she was already aunting.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, being the auntie.
Yes.
Is that the one where I think she introduced herself and said, I'm your aunt? And then I don't know if they cut to commercial or whatever it was, and I'm like, which aunt?
I know.
Yes, because I was doing the same thing. Which side are you on? So it took a while for that to come out, because she said, I've got pictures of who might be your dad. And I went, okay, it's the maternal aunt. Right.
But at first it was just your aunt.
Yes.
Well, what was difficult to begin with is that they ran and hugged each other, and they, and they didn't say whose relative she was. So finally they pulled themselves apart and he said, and whose relative are you?
But you could tell there was such a strong family resemblance, it's just beautiful. So these stories, and like I said, the majority of them, 3 of them have found aunts on day 1. So they got 8 more days. Who else? But one of them has siblings, and I can't remember now which one, because they were talking about, I can't remember. I almost want to say it was Tiffany, but I'm not sure. I don't remember now, and I apologize for that.
I don't remember.
One of them, they were talking about that her biological mother was married and had children, and because I wrote down, she's got siblings. I can't remember.
Was that late?
I don't know. I apologize. I don't remember, but one of them has siblings. Well, a lot of them may have. They all may have siblings.
I think it's Leighton.
Do you think?
I think
Maybe
it
it
was
was.
Leighton too.
Okay. How cool. Yeah. That's so fun. So I'm thinking, well, they're going to meet siblings. So that'll be along the line. And hopefully they'll meet their biological parents along the line, and maybe grandmas and grandpas along the line, as we've seen before. So I think this was, oh go ahead, Shelley. Yes.
Rochelle?
She's Team Blue. She's Team
30
Blue.
minutes away from where the auntie was
Oh my
at.
gosh,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And I
in
think that's
Georgia.
why she got so excited when they were going to Georgia, because she knew she lived there. She was born there. She, that meant something to her. And so I think that's why they got so excited, because she was just giddy. We're going to Georgia. We're going to Atlanta. So so I thought, oh, that means something to her. That really means something to her.
I'm sure more will come of that.
Oh yeah, more will come of that. Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that we really haven't talked about is on Tiffany's little interview. She had said that she's not close with her adoptive father.
Yes.
Which makes me really hope that she finds a father figure, either on her biological father.
Oh, I think she's going to meet her dad.
Oh, I hope so too. Now,
I'm with you, Melissa.
She has an adoptive sister, right? The parents adopted both girls, but then the father left the family. I believe that's the right story.
When she was like 9, I think she said.
Yeah. So
well, that's the right story, because she has 5 adopted siblings. So one of them
maybe it's somebody else in. We're sorry. We watch it a couple of times, but then the stories kind of cross together. So we're sorry.
I'm gonna go.
We're sorry to the teams. We're sorry for the team. So if you watch this, they got this all wrong. We're really sorry.
No. You know what we're doing? We're getting it wrong on purpose, so people will correct us in the comments, because
that means they watched it.
To see comments. So whatever you observed that we missed, put it down there in the comments.
Well, Laura, I'm going to do what you did and go to the webpage and look
it up. Right. There's just so much to take in, even if you watch it a couple of times. And I think that as you go through the season, you get to know the teams. You really get to know the teams. Right. So you're understanding a little bit more. You're understanding a little bit more of who they are. And it's easier to get to, I remember, in case you guys are mad at me, I remember 3-4 seasons ago, I kept calling one of the team members the wrong name. I don't know why. I got it stuck in my head. And finally somebody said, why do you keep calling them the wrong name? And I'm like, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So, but it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful season. And
it is.
And as we have done for most of the seasons, we're hoping that as time goes, we can get the teams on here to talk to us about their journey. Of course, they can't do that until they've gotten their 3rd strike. We don't want that to happen. There's got to be a time where they all make it. There's got to be some way that they all make it to day 10. Wouldn't that just be an amazing thing? So is there anything else that y'all can think of that we haven't talked about that we can't?
We have to talk about who got 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
We do need to do that, right? Who would like to? Oh, what was the reward? What was the reward if you came in first? Do you remember?
You don't have to take a city selfie.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, what kind of reward is that? These people are pros.
Well, but I think it's just a time thing.
But it's
you don't have to find the sign.
They don't have to find the sign.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I'll bet you what they'll do is they'll text them the address of where they have to go. So they just get to the city and they'll know, or they'll just go ahead and give them that information as they leave to go, because they don't have to stop anywhere. So that's a great benefit. Melissa, you were going to talk to us about who came in?
The Team Black came in first. So that was good. And then Team Blue came in second. And Team Red came in third. And Team Green came in fourth and got their 1st strike. So
they did.
And you know what? They're okay with that.
And they're okay with it.
Her
Did you notice Kelly's comment? She said, I'm not surprised we came in late, because if we had beat another team, I would have thought they had stopped at every car wash on the way in. And you remember what she's talking about, right? Do you remember Joe and Jerica? They stopped at the car wash. That was directly pointed at Joe as a joke. So
I didn't remember that, but
so funny. I love
Well, they
that.
kind of struggled on the challenge.
They did.
Yeah.
Because they
Well,
didn't know
yes.
how to use the drill,
Use
but
the
it was
drill.
funny that the aunt that they met had a construction company.
Yes.
Construction company. Absolutely.
Yeah, she could have
Absolutely.
taught them how to use the drill.
Oh, and speaking of that aunt, when they met her, Kelly
Shauna?
said you guys have each other's eyes. You look so
Yeah.
much
Right.
alike.
It
And then
definitely
they
was a
showed
family
her the
resemblance.
picture of her
Yeah.
mother, and you're like, oh my gosh, oh yeah,
Yeah.
She
the
is.
sisters look so much alike. So
Yeah.
then Angie looks so much like her biological mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those things are incredible, and I can't even imagine the feeling of being able to see someone who looks like you, no matter
Yeah.
how much you
How
felt
much love
loved and
there is.
belonged by your adoptive family. It's still
Yeah.
got to be just so incredibly powerful to meet somebody who looks like you. I just
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. And you can just see them, all of them, when they meet this family, looking at each other. And a lot of times I think when they run up, they're like, oh my gosh, that looks like me. That's got to be mine. So they're
Right.
hoping, whose relative are you? Please, you look like you. Please be mine, So anyway, another fabulous kudos to Relative Race
Yes,
for another
very good.
fabulous start to a new season. I can't wait to see how this
I know.
plays out. Yeah,
Everybody's got a story.
That's
every-
right.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got a story,
Yeah.
and we're so grateful that they are sharing theirs with us, that they took this
Absolutely.
leap. And because a lot of times these people, they don't even know what they're getting into.
No.
They don't
Now,
even know.
do we think that, because last year we found out that a lot of the contestants, if not all, were recruited rather
Yeah.
than applied.
I don't know this year, so we'll have to.
We'll have to ask when they come
I mean,
on.
just
We'll
because,
ask.
yeah, I'm wondering, because it's just such a great mix and so many
It
different
is.
stories.
It
You
is.
have the
Yes.
cousins, you
Yeah,
have the cousins, you have the married couple, you have the
Yeah.
engaged couple, you have
Yeah.
the sister-in-laws. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so many different ways to come
Right.
about. So
yeah.
it's a great mix.
It is a great mix. And I have to say, I fell in love with each of the teams last
Yeah.
night. There's
Yeah.
not one that I'm like, oh, I'm kind of leaning towards them. I fell in love with each one of them. They're all so special, and their stories are special. And I want each of them
got
to
a
find
journey
and
too.
get those questions. I want them to get their questions answered,
Answered.
even if they don't get to meet the people they were hoping to meet. And that happens sometimes. I want their questions answered so they can have peace and they can move forward. Sometimes you get stuck. I think sometimes you can get stuck when you don't have those answers emotionally. And so I'm hoping that they all get their answers. And I'm grateful for you guys and watching the show as well, and your excitement as well. And I have to say that Mary has already put in our chat that she's already.
I saw that.
I know, we won't say who, we won't say what, but Mary said, oh, I already know where her dad is, because she loves to get the hints from the
Detective
show.
Mary.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is, showing off.
She's so good. We call it, she married it.
It's a verb. It's a verb.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
a verb. It's a verb. And
Yeah, very slightly,
I-
by the way.
I'm just really, sadly, such an addict that I always joke I will go find some wine on First Avenue and can I find your grandfather in the census,
Yeah.
please?
Exactly.
Well, Mary,
exactly.
if you want someone to look for, I'm sure we all could
all
find
could
you a
be
place.
Yeah.
All of us.
You know those things called brick walls? I'm sure. If
We'll give them all
want
to you.
Be the
Oh.
detective. We have folks to give you.
Oh, that's a great future show.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
That is. Let's
Yeah,
push-
let's
call
challenge
Dan.
Mary.
Let's call Dan. Dan, we've got another idea for you.
Yeah,
And
new
Lynn's
show.
We could have a brick wall show. Just
Yeah.
and give it all to Mary and see if she can.
There you
or
go.
to each other
Absolutely.
too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
All right, when Relative Race is over, that's what we're going to do. That will be, we'll get married
I
to
think that sounds
to
great.
go through our brick walls. All righty. This has been so much fun. Day one was so much fun. Thank y'all. Thank you so much for joining me in my crazy obsession with Relative Race. And I think I've got you all addicted now after how many seasons we've been doing this.
Yep.
This is season 9.
This is season 9. And I think we've been together talking about this for
I've been the whole thing every time.
So yeah. So, and we got Melissa hooked. And so we're grateful for that. But anyway, we'd love to hear your comments, and we're sorry if we made any mistakes. We love the teams. And if you would like to comment and keep us straight, we would appreciate that. Last season, we had some team members that would watch, and we could just ask a question and we know that they would answer afterwards.
Yeah.
So that would be a lot of fun too. Or the viewers, if you want to answer our questions because you caught something that we didn't catch. There's only 5 of us. You'd think we would catch everything. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to going with you on this journey. So don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of these episodes as we talk about season 9 of Relative Race. So we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.